but I share my own personal story of overcoming bad credit and paycheck to paycheck living. And I got it done. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. And so there's a level of inspiration in there as well as the technical knowledge of what you need to do to get there.
Welcome to D50 After Dark. I'm your host, Mickey Bennett, and in today's episode, we'll be getting to know Toastmaster and professional speaker, Victor Johnson. Come listen in. Welcome to D50 After Dark, Victor. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Mickey. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
So, Victor, you are a Toastmaster and a professional speaker. So let's start with just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So in my day job, I am a community outreach coordinator for Prosperity Bank. So I do a lot of mortgage work, a lot of workshops. So I'm out speaking in public in general for that role. But I'm also a professional speaker, so I get paid to do leadership talks. I do a lot of youth mentoring, but I do quite a bit of speaking in public in general. So about a year and a half ago, earlier 2023, a friend of mine was in a leadership MetroCrest class with me, and she suggested that I come on and join the MetroCrest Toastmasters team and, kind of sharpen up my saw, if you will, on my speaking. And it has been one of the greatest things for me. So I am also a Toastmaster at this time.
So you've been a Toastmaster for about a year?
Yes, just over a year.
Just over a year. All right. Now, most people that I know in Toastmasters don't go on to be professional speakers. It's just not why they join. They join for other reasons. They just want to give presentations at work or something like that.
Yes.
So I'm always interested when I do meet people who are professional speakers.
Yes.
You were a professional speaker before being a Toastmaster.
Yes, I was already doing paid speaking engagements and things like that, but we all have room for improvement, right? And one thing that I noticed is that my speech structure needed some improvement. My openings, giving good 3 strong takeaways, and then closing out with a great call to action or with a great closure. So I wasn't strong with that before, but Toastmasters has really improved my structure around my speeches. And it's just given me more confidence on stage because now I know certain things, that little quirks that I never really paid attention to. And of course, Toastmasters is great at identifying those for you.
So even for someone who's already getting paid to speak in public, there's value in Toastmasters.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Are you aware that Toastmasters has a professional speaker designation? It's called the Accredited Speaker Program.
I just learned that just now.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
There's not a whole lot of them. I think here in District 50, there's only one. I think Ann Barab is a designated or a accredited speaker. So it might be worth looking into.
100% it will be. I'm coming after you, Amber.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you mentioned that you work for a bank and
Yes.
you do workshops. So normally I wouldn't think of somebody doing like outreach workshops for a bank. So what's that all about?
So my job is really to help increase the number of Black homeowners in Texas and Oklahoma. And the way that I do that is through these workshops. We have, it's called the Empowerment Series. And it's just 6 different financial literacy workshops. And I facilitate those at churches, youth groups, Chamber of Commerces from here to East Texas. And so literally in a month, I may do 7 or 10 of these workshops, in addition to what I do outside of my bank role. I might get hired a couple of times to do some leadership talks or sales or something around real estate. But this job has been wonderful because it's something that I'm passionate about, right? I love helping people to understand what it takes to get approved for a mortgage. I know the value of buying a home. And so helping folks that think that they may not even have a shot at it. And now I'm helping them to get financially strong, understand the do's and don'ts, and ultimately become homeowners. It's really gratifying work.
Wow. I mean, that sounds like a dream job, really.
It's my dream job. I mean, I make my schedule, I stay productive, and I get people reaching out all the time. Like, I'm so glad I went to your workshop because now we're on a pathway towards homeownership.
Yeah. As someone who recently became a homeowner just a few years ago, I understand that it can be intimidating, so much so that for most people they just don't even consider themselves as someone who could end up being a homeowner.
Yeah.
So I imagine your workshops, there's a real potential to build confidence in people who would never think that they could be a homeowner.
Definitely. And, I share my own stories, and we'll talk about that at some point, but I share my own personal story of overcoming bad credit and paycheck to paycheck living. And I got it done. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. And so there's a level of inspiration in there, as well as the technical knowledge of what you need to do to get there.
Yeah. So do you practice your workshop talks in Toastmasters, or do you do other speech topics?
I haven't done that.
Yeah.
So we have kind of these 6 modules that are kind of set, and I've done our PowerPoints and presentations. So I get enough exercise just doing that same presentation. And it's not exactly the same, but it's the same content shared over and over. I have not felt the need to practice it at a Toastmasters. Now, I've done other things that I practice that help me with my speaking in general, but not those workshops. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're a professional speaker.
Yes.
How long you been doing that?
Since 2015 professionally.
Wow.
Yes. So I've been doing it a while. In 2019, one of my jobs that I had, that position got eliminated. I got a nice severance check. I had just written a book called Proven Pathways to Wealth and Happiness that released in December of 2018. So 2019 is when I really got aggressive about, hey, I need to get out here and promote this book and talk about what my journey. And so colleges started booking me. There were other organizations that were asking me to come out and just talk about the journey of becoming a real estate investor. And that was really what got me more active. So 2019, 2020, it was really active. And then once you get out there and people are inspired and they feel like you have influence, they'll reach out like crazy. Hey, can you come talk to my group? You mind speaking to this group? And so it has really blossomed into a great career for me.
I didn't realize you're also an author.
I am.
What's the name of your book again?
Proven Pathways to Wealth and Happiness. We are on Amazon and Kindle, yes.
And just briefly, what's the book about?
It's my personal journey. It's a mindset book. So how I had to get disciplined about my bills, attack my credit score. I worked on my own professional development, which helped me increase my earnings in my career. With the extra money, I started investing in rental properties. So it just tells that whole story of, hey, one day I got real about where I was with my finances. I took action. These are things you can do as well. So it's really inspirational, but it also provides some technical information on improving your credit score, getting your finances together, getting your career together, and ultimately how we did our first rental property deal, my wife and I.
Very cool. And it's available on Amazon.
Yes.
And promoting your book was the impetus for you getting into professional speaking.
Yes, it was. I was doing some speaking before from a professional side, like through my jobs, doing trainings and things like that. But this is when it became more personal for me, is when the book was released and I can get out and really talk about my story.
And for one of our listeners who, feels that they have developed their public speaking skills to a pretty advanced level and they are interested in breaking into the realm of professional speaking, but don't know where to start, what advice would you give to them?
They definitely need to come to the Metro Crest Toastmasters if you're in the Carrollton, Addison, Farmers Branch area of Texas. But I also help speakers to get strong on stage, help them figure out how to create a business around speaking and actually get out and promote themselves so they can attract paid speaking engagements. So on my website, bethevictor.us, I coach quite a few people that come through that pipeline and really help them, not with what Toastmasters teaches you. I'll share some of that, but I would much rather them go through the actual system of Toastmasters. But then when they want to get paid and create a business around their speaking, that's where I can step in and really help them out.
Very cool. Yeah. So helping people become a public speaker themselves is potentially one of the things that you could help them with through your career as a
Yes.
public speaker. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're going to have some more conversations here in upcoming episodes, and we'll talk more about your advice for people as speakers, storytelling, and talk about building confidence. In the meantime, until the next episode, what is your call to action for our listeners?
So again, I want everybody that's listening, if you're tuned in to D50 After Dark, you must have some interest in speaking, right? Somewhere, whether it's in your professional life, whether it's just being a better toaster at events, whatever it is. And I highly recommend going to your local Toastmasters. Like, go to toastmasters.com and figure out what's the closest location. But if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they got to stop by our location in Metro Crest, Toastmasters Metro Crest. We are off of Beltline over in Addison, and we meet every Tuesday at 12 p.m. And we're also virtual, so folks can jump in virtually. That would be my call to action. Get involved with a Toastmasters in your community as soon as possible.
And where can they find out specifically where to meet at Metro Crest? Do you guys have a website?
We do have a website. I don't have it memorized, but I know if they do a search for Metro Crest Toastmasters in the Addison, Texas area, it'll pop up for sure.
Okay.
Or you can just visit the toastmasters.org site and then type in Addison or Carrollton, and it should pop up as our location.
Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, so you heard Victor. Check out Metro Crest Toastmasters and stay tuned for our next conversation with Victor Johnson.